stop for a second. Close your eyes if you can. Now ask yourself this. When was the last time you made a decision that felt absolutely right without knowing why? That wasn't luck. That wasn't guessing. That was your subconscious speaking a language your conscious mind hasn't learned yet. Today I'm going to show you something unusual. Not a personality test. Not a quiz with predetermined answers. But a psychological mirror that reflects what you're carrying right now in this exact moment of your life. And here's the interesting part. You won't choose the path. The path will choose you. Before we dive in, if you're curious about understanding yourself on a deeper level, hit that like button and subscribe. This channel is for people who want real insights, not surface-level entertainment. We go beyond the obvious because truth doesn't live on the surface. It lives in the places most people are afraid to look. In a moment, you'll see 4 images, for different paths. Each one will create a feeling inside you. Not a thought, a feeling. Here's what I want you to do. Don't analyze. Don't compare. Don't ask yourself which one is correct. Instead, notice which path makes you feel something. Maybe it's comfort. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's slight anxiety. Whatever it is, that's your answer. Your subconscious mind processes information 200,000 times faster than your conscious mind. It already knows what you need before you finish thinking about it. So trust that first pull, that immediate reaction. That's where the truth lives. The moment you start overthinking, you'll start choosing the path that sounds good instead of the one that feels true. Take 3 deep breaths. Relax your jaw. Soften your gaze. And now, which path draws you in? You chose the forest. Interesting. Let me tell you what this really means. Right now, you're in a season of withdrawal, not depression, not avoidance. Withdrawal. There's a profound difference between running away from chaos and walking toward clarity. You're doing the latter. People who choose this path are often highly sensitive. You feel things others don't notice. You pick up on energy shifts in rooms. You know when someone is lying before they finish their sentence. You read between the lines of every conversation. But here's the weight you've been carrying. Everyone comes to you with their problems because you make them feel safe. You're the listener, the supporter, the one who holds space. And slowly, quietly, you've forgotten to hold space for yourself. The forest isn't calling you to escape. It's calling you to remember what your own voice sounds like. This path appears when you've been giving too much for too long. When you've adapted to everyone else's emotional temperature and lost track of your own. You possess deep emotional intelligence and natural healing energy. You understand that rest is productive, that silence is powerful, that you don't need to be on all the time to be valuable. Most people fear stillness because it forces them to feel. You're choosing it intentionally. That takes wisdom. But be careful you're not confusing peace with passivity. The forest is beautiful, but you can't live there forever. At some point, you'll need to bring what you learned back into the world. Don't let comfort become a cage. Don't let healing become hiding. There's a question you need to ask yourself. What conversation have I been avoiding because I'm afraid of disrupting the peace? The forest will give you clarity. It will restore your energy. It will remind you who you are beneath all the roles you play. But you have to promise you'll act on what you discover. Wisdom without action is just pretty philosophy. The trees will teach you to breathe again. Just don't forget that eventually you'll need to walk back out and use that breath to speak your truth. You chose the road to the city. That tells me everything. You're someone who measures progress, who values results, who believes that if you work hard enough, life will reward you. And here's what most people don't understand about you. It's not that you're obsessed with success. You're obsessed with proving you're not weak. People who choose this path often grew up in environments where emotions were seen as obstacles, where struggle was private, where asking for help felt like failure. So you learn to build, to plan, to control, and honestly, you're probably good at it. You likely have your life more organized than most people. You hit deadlines. You follow through. People respect you. They come to you for advice because you seem like you have it all figured out. But here's what you're not telling anyone. You're exhausted, not physically tired, soul tired. Because every time you achieve something, the bar moves. Every time you rest, you feel guilty. Every time someone asks, how are you really doing? You give them the highlight reel. You've built an impressive exterior, but somewhere along the way you stopped checking if anyone was actually home inside. Success became a measurement instead of an experience. Achievement became proof instead of joy. And now you're so far down this road, you're not even sure what you're building toward anymore. You just know you can't stop. You have discipline most people only dream about. You understand delayed gratification. You know how to turn vision into reality. Those are rare and valuable traits. But success without self-awareness is just expensive distraction. At some point, you'll achieve everything you thought you wanted and realize you don't know who you are underneath it all. You'll have the career, the status, the respect, and still feel empty because you've been running toward a finish line that keeps moving. Here's what you need to ask yourself. If no one was watching, what would I actually want to do with my life? Not what looks impressive, not what makes sense, not what you're supposed to want. What do you want? The road will take you far. Just make sure it's taking you somewhere worth going, because reaching the wrong destination efficiently is still a tragedy. You chose the mountain. And honestly, that's the bravest choice here. Most people avoid the mountain because mountains don't lie. They show you exactly who you are, your limits, your fears, your excuses, your breaking points. But you're not afraid of that anymore. This choice shows up when someone has already been through something. A breakup that shattered your identity. A loss that changed everything. A failure that exposed every lie you told yourself. A realization that your entire worldview was built on sand. You didn't choose the mountain because you enjoy suffering. You chose it because you know fake comfort is worse than real discomfort. You've tasted the alternative. You've tried pretending everything is fine. You've tried numbing it. You've tried moving on too fast. And none of it worked. So now you're doing the one thing most people never have the courage to do. You're facing it. All of it. People who select this path are usually in the middle of a transformation they didn't ask for but can't avoid. You're rebuilding your identity from scratch. And it's brutal and lonely and necessary because the old version of you doesn't fit anymore. The beliefs that used to make sense now feel hollow. The relationships that used to work now feel suffocating. The goals that used to motivate you now feel meaningless. You possess rare courage. Most people will do anything to avoid looking at their shadow. You're walking straight into yours. That kind of honesty creates depth that cannot be faked. It creates wisdom that cannot be taught. People will feel it when they meet you even if they can't explain why. You'll have a presence that comes from having survived your own internal war. But don't romanticize the struggle. Growth doesn't require constant pain. You don't have to punish yourself to evolve. Sometimes a mountain teaches you to stop climbing and simply breathe. Sometimes a lesson isn't in reaching the peak. It's in learning when to rest. Don't turn healing into another performance. Don't make transformation another thing you have to be good at. Ask yourself this. Am I healing or am I just making myself suffer to feel productive? Because there's a difference between processing pain and identifying with it. Between transformation and self-punishment. The mountain will remake you. Just don't lose yourself in the process. Don't become so focused on a climb that you forget why you started. You chose the open field. And that means you're done with other people's rules. This path represents someone who is tired of performing, tired of fitting in, tired of pretending that the life everyone expects them to want is actually fulfilling. You're not running from responsibility. You're running toward authenticity. And those two things look identical from the outside, but feel completely different from the inside. People who choose this path often look fine on the outside. They have jobs, relationships, routines. But inside, there's a quiet rebellion happening. A voice that keeps saying there has to be more than this. And you're right, there is. But finding it requires letting go of the safety net everyone told you to build. It requires disappointing people. It requires admitting you don't have all the answers. You have the rarest form of courage, the courage to disappoint people. Most people live their entire lives inside someone else's expectations. They choose careers their parents approve of. They stay in relationships that look good on paper. They build lives that impress everyone except themselves. You're willing to walk away from security if it means finding meaning. That's not reckless. That's brave. But freedom without direction becomes chaos. Exploration without intention becomes escape. Make sure you're moving towards something, not just away from everything. Because running feels like freedom until you realize you're still carrying everything you're trying to escape. The open field offers infinite possibilities. That's beautiful. That's terrifying. Because infinite possibilities also means infinite responsibility. What are you actually searching for? Or are you just scared to commit? Because sometimes we call it freedom when it's really fear. Sometimes we call it exploration when it's really avoidance. Sometimes we reject structure not because it's wrong, but because it asks us to choose. And choosing means closing doors. And closing doors feels like dying when you spend your whole life keeping every option open. The field will teach you that freedom isn't the absence of commitment. It's the presence of choice. Real freedom comes from knowing yourself well enough to commit to what actually matters. From building a life that reflects your values, not your fears. From having the courage to say, this is who I am, even if it's not who I thought I would be. So which path did you choose? More importantly, why? These paths aren't predictions. They're reflections. They show you what your subconscious is processing right now. And here's the powerful part. You can change paths. You're not locked into one forever. Maybe next year you'll choose differently. Maybe next month. That's not inconsistency. That's growth. That's life responding to life. The real question is this. Now that you see what you've been carrying, what are you going to do about it? Awareness without action is just entertainment. Insight without integration is just information. You've looked at the mirror. Now you have to decide if you're going to change what you see or just keep staring at it. Drop your path in the comments. Let's see where everyone is right now. And if this video made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because the truth is we're all walking a path. The tragedy is most people never stop to ask which one. Don't be most people. Subscribe if you want more content that makes you think instead of just makes you feel good. Real growth isn't comfortable, but it's worth it.